Flick off your jandals, crack a cold one from the chili bin, chuck on some cans, and enjoy a Kiwi take on all things Arsenal.
Good morning, everyone.
Hello.
We're back.
Hey.
Well, welcome along. If anyone is joining, we're here.
Is anyone watching at the moment?
I think we've got one, possibly, maybe two. But yeah, see people join. But got Dave here with me. Going to go through some of the tough things that comes along with being an Arsenal supporter. We'll talk about the game a bit, and get
Can we
through
not?
this tough time.
Can we talk about lockdown? Can we talk about how good Sundays are, Sunday mornings? Can we talk about the frost on the grass outside?
Sure. I mean, it's Monday morning, not Sunday morning.
Shit.
But yeah, how are you, Dave?
I'm good in yourself, man.
Fantastic.
Good.
Lockdown is amazing. I love
in full
lockdown.
swing.
I love sitting at home and the wife can't get upset at me.
For doing nothing.
I've got a reason, so she can't get mad.
She can't get upset because she can't get upset with you getting up at 2:30 in the morning and staying up all night.
No, I'm mad at myself for doing that because I never learned. But yeah, what are you going to do?
You're going to get up at 2:30 to watch Arsenal lose.
What else am I going to do? Yeah, it's
Nothing.
The hope that kills. It's the hope that kills. If I wasn't an Arsenal fan, it would be, I'd be the happiest person alive.
Yeah, well,
but
don't let Arsenal get you down so much.
No, we'll be fine.
Anyway, shall we talk about this bloody game that happened?
Rip it off like a band-aid. Let's just get into it.
So what are you asked me first last week with my thoughts. What are your thoughts on the game? What did you take away from that?
What are my thoughts on the game? I was, I just like always, I was pumped for it when I turned the computer on this morning and saw the crowd there for the first time. The sun was out. Everything was great. We started okay in the first 5 minutes, and then the weather turned to shit. We turned to shit, and it was back to the beginning, back to square one. But not really any positives to take from it, apart from, we didn't lose more than 2-0.
I can understand your negativity about it. Yeah, we were good for the first 10 minutes until they scored. It pretty much went downhill from there. We kind of just lost confidence, but I did think we were, we played better than what we did last week. Just in the fact that we were able to move the ball up the pitch much quicker than last week. We did create a couple of chances. Pepe I thought was pretty good on the right hand side. Showed a bit of skill, showed a bit of bravado, driving past a couple of Chelsea players. I thought that was pretty good. It was just. I heard them say at the end that Chelsea kind of just kept us at arm's length, which is right, because we thought we were doing well. We were shadow boxing, we were throwing a couple of punches, but then when as soon as we kind of dropped our arms, they just ran up the end of the pitch and scored. It's kind of how it was.
I mean, obvious difference in quality. That was clear to see right from the beginning. Missing a focal point in attack again, which was clear when you watched how Chelsea played with Lukaku up top. Clear that we needed someone like Odegaard in there to find those gaps. The one that stood out, which I mentioned to you before we started this, was the Xhaka in the first half passing it back to the defense when we're in a decent pitch, decent part of the pitch. And there was an opportunity to pass it into space, and he just took the opportunity to start again and push it back to the defense. And you just heard with the crowd when that happened, everyone just went, for fuck's sake, here we go.
They were really upset, hey?
Yeah.
I mean, you could see them in the background waving their arms and everything.
Yeah, and that's just what we've come to expect. And hopefully it'll get better in the next couple of weeks. It looked better at the end of last season with Odegaard, so we can only hope that he'll be the one to make a difference in that department.
I think he definitely will. I think that was what we were missing. I love Smith Rowe, but he's a different kind of creative player. He's not, we need both of them. We need that person who's going to get the ball and drive forward like Smith Rowe does, and we need that player who's going to just take his time on the ball and thread those passes like Odegaard does. We need them both in the team. We can't just have one or the other. You know what I mean? Or just Smith Rowe. We need to complement that with Odegaard. And I think if Odegaard was playing today, it would have been a different game. We would have had better chances. But Martinelli definitely would have been brought into the game a bit more. He hardly touched the ball in the first half. I don't even think he did touch the ball in the first half. It just shows you the quality. I mean, you got Lukaku, who was being brought in the game a lot. He's really good at playing with his back towards goal, holding up play, especially against a defender like Mari, who took a while to realize how the type of player he was up against. Right? I mean, Lukaku was able to get round him, turn him pretty easily up until I think Pablo Mari realized, maybe I should just be a little bit stronger with this person.
He definitely got better as the game went on. I did like his challenge where he went straight through the back of him.
Yeah,
it was a shame Lukaku got. It was a shame Lukaku got straight back up to his feet.
Yeah, shame he couldn't break his leg, right?
Well, we don't hope for injuries, but
It'd make me look like the bad guy. Well, Lukaku's he's a strong guy, so I mean, I'm not surprised he just got straight back up and just got right back at it.
Yeah. So, I mean, did you see the Kroenkes released a statement before the game?
Yes, I did see. I heard a little bit of it, but not exactly. I know it's all about transfers, right?
Yeah, I mean, usual sort of spin, I guess. There's nothing where you sit and think, shit, they're gonna do something about this. That was all sort of, we've done great work this summer, and we think it's gonna be enough to win trophies again. So nothing new.
Can't deny they've spent money, right? I mean, we've spent £129 million. You can't deny that we've
spending team. Even with City's cash, we're the highest spending team. So
and I mean, you can't. I mean, if you're gonna sit here and look at that now, before the season's even started, and be like, oh, it's not enough or whatever. It's like, well, that's exactly what you've been calling for, us to spend money. We have, give us some time, and we spend money on really young players, which I'm really happy about. We complained last couple of years, we would be spending too much money on older players. This transfer window has just been investing in youth, and you can clearly see that we're building for the future here with this transfer window. We're looking in the next couple of years. We're not looking this season. We're not being short-sighted. We're being a little bit more far-sighted. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, it's changed a little bit in that sense, I guess, which is, I guess, a positive. But
you're still underwhelmed.
No, it's not that. I guess being realistic is it still doesn't guarantee success. They are young. We're going to see performances like we are at the moment because they're young, but we also have no guarantee that they'll live up to potential. I'm not against it. I think we're going down the right path because even if they don't work out as well as we hope, then we'll still be able to get money back. But I guess it's hard to think positively and think about the future too much when we're just so deflated with how everything's going at the moment.
Yeah, it is difficult, but I mean, you just got to be realistic about where we are. We are not a team that's going to be competing with Chelsea at the moment. So we have to just be realistic and say, okay, how are we going to compete with them in the next couple of years? And the only way to do that is by investing in players with high potential who we think can improve over the next couple of years and get better and hopefully improve a team. And that's, I can't argue with that. I can't argue with bringing in Anne Ramsdale, 23 years old. I can't argue with bringing in Sammy Lokonga at 19 or whatever. I can only look at that and think that is a positive move instead of a negative one. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we can only hope, right?
We can only hope. So, I mean, going back to the game, we were better in the second half. I think maybe they kind of took their foot off the pedal, though they were still creating chances. But I think maybe they were being a little bit more complacent, and we were a little bit better. We had a good chance holding with an amazing header. I don't know how that didn't go in. Yeah, I mean, we still created some chances. That's what I'm saying. I think it was a better performance than last week. It's just we just came up against a team that were clinical with their finishing. Came up against one of the best strikers in the world.
Yeah, I mean, were you surprised not so much by the lineup, but the way we lined up in the formation with the back four as opposed to matching Chelsea with the back three?
I don't know. Would it have made a difference? They were still only playing with one player up top. They were still only playing with one striker.
Not so much up top. I think that wouldn't have changed either way, but I think would we have been more solid at the back? Especially, I think there were two players obviously at fault for the goal, for the goals, and they were both times Tierney and Saka. Tierney getting maybe pulled in too much to the centre with Lukaku, and Saka not tracking back.
Yeah, so the first goal, it was Tierney who got sucked in because he was marking Mason Mount. So Mason Mount started out on the on our left hand side and then pulled Tierney in. But I don't think Tierney had any choice in the matter. If he did leave Mount, he would have been open the box. It was definitely Saka not tracking back for both goals. I think if Saka was match fit, I think if he is tracking back, he would have been closer to James in the first goal, which could have made a difference. So I wouldn't say Tierney was at fault. I'd say it was more Saka, just purely down to the fact that he wasn't tracking back as he should, and as we know that Arteta wants his players to. Have I just lost Dylan? For a second there, I thought that was the only one on the stream, and I had to now just spitball something for a couple of minutes while you just came back.
No, it's still here.
Yeah.
No, I mean, look, I don't think next week, after seeing how we were today defensively, I don't think we can go up against City with a back four, particularly when our first choice defenders are both out. So it looks like White will be out for the City game. Gabriel still out. So I don't think there's any way we can go into that game and expect to play back four.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a matter of like damage control against City. I think it will just be relentless. They'll have most of the ball. Will be defending most of the game. So yeah, I agree with you. Just packing defense and just hoping for the best.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's not really much hope for next week. We could go into the international break after that on 0 points, or most likely going in on 0 points, but almost bottom if it wasn't for Norwich's goal difference.
Has that ever happened? Have we ever gone to the first international break on 0 points?
No, I don't think. I mean, I don't know off the top of my head, but I can pretty much guarantee that it hasn't happened before.
Yeah, it would have been well publicized if it did. Yeah, so that's actually what I want to ask you when we were speaking about this earlier. Okay, so going into the break at, on 0 points, where does it leave Arteta? Does that would you still think, okay, let's still give him till December and see where we are then, or are you thinking, okay, we need to make a change right now?
I think this is what I've been saying to some others. Like, it's tricky to know, because I think the club wants to back Arteta and they want to back the project, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. No matter how bad it seems at the moment, there are also other factors like missing. I think it's like 9 first-team players at the moment. Maybe not all first-team starters, but Lacazette, White, Gabriel, Partey. So there is that as well to consider. But the fans are back in the stadium. Arsenal fans aren't known for being patient, and it could get very toxic. After the break, we've got 2 what you would, I guess, consider easier games, but not for us at the moment. And then we go into the North London derby. Everyone that I see, everyone I'm watching at the moment seems to be saying if he loses that game, then he can't continue. It's hard to not agree, but I don't know if the club would be willing to throw in the towel that early.
Well, yeah. So we've given him this chance. So it was either, for me, get rid of him at the end of last season, just at the end of the season, just take him aside and say, listen, this is not working. We're going to take a different approach for the beginning of next season, or for the start of the transfer window, beginning of next season. Or you give him the start of the season and at least the first half till December, right? You can't now, because this is what I really didn't want. I was a big supporter of making a change at the end of last season. But seeing as though we didn't, then then my opinion was like, okay, let's just get all on board with this guy for now, because last thing I want is for us to go into the season a bad start and 5 games in sack him, and then what does that help? You know what I mean? So it's all relative. So if we do come out that Tottenham game with 0 points, so that would be, let's see who we got next. We got West Brom. West Brom is in the cup. So we got Man City, Norwich, Burnley, and then Tottenham. If we come through that with only 1 or 3 points, then I'll be very upset. And I mean, you have to think then change has to be made.
You don't see Arsenal as knee-jerk in their decision making when it comes to making massive changes like that. But you've also seen with Emery and even with Wenger, when the stadium, for example, has been really toxic, and the atmosphere has just been, it's almost become untenable for those 2 managers with the fans in the stadium. So if we get to the North London derby, which is at home, and we are losing that game, depending on, I don't think the games leading up to it are, they're almost irrelevant, because City we're probably going to lose, and we expect to lose, and the other 2 games we're either going to win because they're the lower teams in the league, or we're going to be in a worse situation because we lose to them. There's no positives going into the North London derby, no matter which way it goes, because if we beat Norwich and we beat Burnley, the fans won't count them. they're not going to be suddenly going, well, we're beating those two teams, it's all good again. So no matter what happens going into that Northern Derby, it's going to be negative. And if we lose to Tottenham at home, it could get ugly.
Yeah, it's also the manner if we do win those two games, it's the manner in which we win those games, right? If we just scraping through, still making a lot of mistakes and still quite underwhelming, then that will create a different kind of feel towards the club than if we thump them. You know what I mean? But if we win, we're expected to win those two games. So if we do, and we still lose the Tottenham game, it'll still be a really negative reaction, even though I think Tottenham are probably still... so in the chat here, Afrikiwi Guna has said we're missing 5 starters, which is quite apparent. And I think it is... it's really difficult to deal with, especially with a squad that lacks a depth that we do, you know what I mean?
Yeah, everyone knows that's the situation, so there's got to be some sort of understanding around it, but you'd still expect us to, not necessarily get the results, but it's the way we play as well.
Well, that's it.
It's also got people really upset.
Yeah, it's exactly what I'm saying. So it's the way we played again. It's the way we got beaten by Brentford, and how timid we were. I can't really take this game as, I can't really look too much into this game because it's Chelsea. They're probably going to finish in the top 2. They might well go and win the league. Who knows? I think we held ourselves pretty well. But yeah, it's the manner in which we lose the games, which I think just upsets everyone. If you just getting bullied off the ball, bullied throughout the game, then that's unacceptable. And if we're not working hard for each other, if we're not tracking back, we're not working hard for the team, then that's unacceptable. And then that actually definitely comes down to the manager for not motivating the players, or if the players, if they're not working hard or tracking back, the way I see it, that's definitely that's on the manager's shoulders. That.
Yeah. Sorry, David. Is that TV in the background? Sorry, getting a bit of noise on my side.
Sorry, it's Lukaku doing his post-match interview. I'll turn it down.
So where do we go? So we've got West Brom midweek, Carling Cup, or whatever it's called these days.
Carabao Cup?
Carabao Cup, that sounds about right. They change it every season, it seems, but away. So Thursday morning here, away. I'd imagine a lot of the first team will be rested, so we'll see quite a changed lineup. Although with COVID going through the squad, who knows what the squad will be like, what the lineup will be like. But are we a cup team now? Should we really be taking this seriously?
I never really take a League Cup seriously, to be honest. I come from the days when the League Cup was for playing the youth, was betting in players, youth players, for them to get a kind of taste of first team football. But it seems now that I think Arteta needs to try and win everything that is, if the Carling Cup's a trophy to win, might as well go out and try and win it, right?
Although, we've only got 2 cup tournaments this year.
Exactly.
I still wouldn't be completely confident in us when we come up against the big teams anyway, but
well, we're probably going to come up against City
so far. Yeah, judging what we've seen so far, if we want to compete for trophies, this is really it. Like FA Cup, Carling Cup, Carabao Cup, whatever. Like that's it. So we can't really turn our nose up at either of those tournaments.
Definitely not. Definitely not. I was saying we'll probably meet City. We'll probably meet City in the final because they are assuring to win the League Cup every single year. It's like their trophy. But yeah, I think we're just gonna try win everything we're in, especially League Cup and FA Cup. Trophy's a trophy, especially because we don't have much else to play for. I don't think. Yeah.
The hard thing at the moment is, like last year we kind of had the thing where we'd be like, you know what, it's okay how bad we are in the league because we can play the youngsters in the cups and we've got confidence in the youngsters. But at the moment, the youngsters are the ones playing in the league and we're not getting results or playing well either. So who are we going to play in the League Cup to actually, like, if we're playing the way we are, I can see us losing to West Brom.
Absolutely. I mean, I think something's really got to change. I still can't see how we want to play, except for the fact just getting it to left and putting balls in, although we did do a little bit less of that today. But I still can't see exactly how we want to play on it. How Arteta wants this, how Arteta wants this team to attack. Granted, we keep on going back to it, but we are short a couple of first team players. Aubameyang came on today, but didn't really see much of him, right? Totally brought that he even came onto the field.
No, he was pretty quiet, but I mean, yeah, what can you do when half your team or your key players are all getting COVID within the first couple of weeks of the season as well?
So how many do you have COVID? So we got Lacazette, Ben White, and Runarsson. Still only 3.
And Lacazette.
So it's 3. Lacazette
and Willian.
Yeah, I did. Oh, and Willian. Oh, yeah.
We don't count him, do we?
No. No, we don't. So we got. So it's Laka, Ben White, and Runarsson. So 2 of those are really only first team players.
But you have to think, I know we were talking like this before the stream, like how much testing's going on and whatnot. But surely, if they're around the squad, the day before, if they're not testing every day, it's going to spread throughout the whole squad. It's just I don't see how this season's going to go through smoothly without there going to be some disruptions, because someone else was saying, like I said on one of the other streams, like how many players in the squad have to get infected until they postpone a game.
I was just about to ask that. Yeah.
There doesn't seem to be any policy around it. They seem intent on making sure that all games, everything goes back to normal, and COVID is a afterthought, except for when you test positive. But
I think so. Last week's game, obviously we lost a couple of players through COVID before last week's game, and Arteta was saying he's surprised that the game actually went on and wasn't cancelled. If after that game, a couple of the Brentford players then tested positive, then I think it'll be they'll take it a bit more seriously, because then we've definitely passed it on to a different camp, if you know what I mean. Then they would have to take it seriously, because then you run the risk of it actually passing from game to game throughout all the teams. So I think what they feel that, okay, they contained it pretty well. The players that had tested positive, they had isolated them, took them away from the rest of the team, and it kind of stopped there. And I think they probably feel that's the way to go about it going into the future. But
like it does look like they are doing quite frequently. So maybe they're picking up before they're infectious, but there has to be a worry there, especially with us. It always seems to affect us. How many players we're going to lose? It'd be interesting. I don't think they'll ever mention it. It's never, But where did Ben White get COVID? Are they getting it from somewhere within the club? Are they catching it from the other players, or are they getting it from outside? Because I mean, it is everywhere in the UK still. Like it's still 30, 40,000 cases a day.
I know we looked at this before.
It hasn't gone away. Yeah, it hasn't gone away. So are they getting it from outside, or are they getting it from training and being around the squad?
You would imagine so that they don't have any. I mean, there aren't any lockdown rules at the moment. living quite freely. So that means the players are living quite freely. So if they're going out to restaurants and supermarkets and stuff, and if it's still out there, that's probably where they're getting it from. And yeah, you said there's still 30,000 cases each. Yesterday was 30,000 cases. But yes, Afri Kiwi Guna said surely they test daily. So we actually looked before we went on how long it takes for them to get a test results back, and it's fairly quickly, right? It's just a couple of minutes. Didn't we see Dylan? So surely they'll be being tested every single day. They'd definitely be tested on game day, no doubt, if they can get the results back so quickly. So every morning before game, they'll probably be tested, get the results. If they test negative, then they can play. So yeah, we were saying we couldn't understand how. Well, I was watching the Liverpool game, and a full stadium, but the players still had to, when they walk out separately. They still had to wear masks when they were in the dugout. It's like, it makes completely no sense, seeing as though they're all tested and they're all tested negative. And you've got a stadium full of people who are not wearing masks and not isolating, and probably all been vaccinated, and so have all the players probably. So it's just.
I guess it's hard for us to understand living in New Zealand, where we've just gone into lockdown pretty much the instant we got a case. Which. Not getting into politics or anything, so it's neither here or there. But we see it differently to them. I was talking to a friend who, and a lot of people over there can't seem to understand why we've gone into lockdown, because we've only had one case, which it's turned into 50 or 60. But he's just gone back to work full time, going to games again, living without any restriction. And
where's that? Where is he?
In London.
Well, okay, so they're mostly vaccinated there, right?
Yeah.
So most of this country aren't vaccinated.
No, of course, but I said, it's just the different mindsets. I think where we, looking at the games, just can't believe that there are absolutely no restrictions. But it's just you can't quite fathom it, but it is what it is. And it's nice for us because we're watching from afar. We can just watch it and it feels like it's normal because
exactly,
it's crowds and stuff. But going under that a bit, it's just it's very.
But I mean, people saying that they can't believe New Zealand has locked their whole country down because of one case. Well, it's kind of that mentality that has allowed us to live quite freely for the last 18 months with no cases, and basically living completely as normal, where the rest of the world have gone through months and months of constant lockdowns where we haven't. So it's kind of that mentality. So
well, like I said to you, I love lockdown. I can sit at home without having to come up with an excuse as to why I'm sitting at home, because I'd be sitting at home anyway. But for someone like my mate who was in lockdown for 7 months, it's like they can't wait to get out. So
and also in London, their lockdown was different. They were only allowed to leave the house for an hour a day, whereas we can pretty much during lockdown we can leave the house as many times as we want. Just keep away from anyone else. Yeah.
So it is what it is, but
it is what it is.
I guess we'll see what the ramifications are. I don't think they'll cancel the season. There's no way that'll happen.
They're going to avoid that at all costs.
And I doubt we'll see any games postponed. So
you think so?
I don't think so. I mean, there's been no talk of it, and it seems like the Premier League doesn't even want to acknowledge. Well, they didn't really want to acknowledge last week that there was any positive cases. So I don't think. I think they just want to. I just think they just want to pretend like it's not there and carry on, which seems like most of that country is happy to do. So it's completely up to them. But
I mean, you say they won't postpone any games. What if, just hypothetically, what if 5 or 6 players of a first team get tested positive? What happens then? Surely they'd have some sort of leeway with the Premier League, and the Premier League, okay, cool, we'll postpone or whatever. When you can't have 6 players out and then expect to play, expect it to be fair to field your team.
So 6 is the magic number because we had 5 today.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah. And then when it's 6, I was like, oh no, it has to be 7.
No, it's 6 for every other team. Arsenal is a dozen.
Wait, so we had 5 out today. Who? 5 with COVID.
Well, probably 4 because Aubameyang was still affected, I guess, in the sense he couldn't start. But
Yeah, but he played, so he wasn't
yeah.
positives. It was. So it's Lacazette, Ben White, and Runarsson. It's only 3.
And Willian.
Oh, and I keep
I know you
forgetting
keep
about Willian.
forgetting, yeah.
No, it's only 4. It's really only 4 players. So yeah.
I mean, at least 3 key players there. I mean, Runarsson, Willian, guaranteed starters.
Exactly. Listen, this Afrikiwi Guna, keep on so active in the chat. Why doesn't he try to come onto the stream? Jump on, mate. Jump on.
Yeah, we're open to everyone. Don't just
My-
have to be listening to Dylan and Dave.
My fellow African, join me on the chat. Anyway, yeah, watching Tony Adams. Tony Adams is such a smart guy, right? Yes, look at these like salmon shirt, pink socks.
I'm not going to try and quote anything that was said, but if you haven't yet, just watch. Like they had Martin Keown and Tony Adams both on the after game. It was quite funny. I just don't feel like Tony Adams knows what he's talking about, but he wants to seem like he knows what he's talking about.
Really?
Like you got to give him some sort of like credit because he's been there and done that, but it just seems like he's talking shit. And it was funny. They had one of the interviews. I think it was James after the game, and the 2 others in the studio were asking him questions, and then it goes to Tony Adams, and he comes on, and all he's is like starts going like, "Oh yeah, you should sign for Arsenal. Why didn't you sign for Arsenal? You would have been fantastic. You're exactly what we needed." And then James is sitting there waiting for the question, which never came. So there's just this awkward silence for like 10 seconds because he never asked a question. He just sort of like.
That's hilarious.
But yeah,
So James is probably like, why do I even have to dignify the answer? This is the reason why I didn't sign for Arsenal because I'm with Chelsea and they're better. Yeah. Well, he's got a lot to say at the moment, and he's yapping on. I don't know what he's saying.
I'll never forget that video when he was he a coach somewhere in Spain or something, and he couldn't speak the language, but he's just like doing that, defensive shape.
Oh yeah,
He's like
yeah.
moving his hands.
Yeah. It's like when David Moyes went to Spain, and you try to speak Spanish in one of the press conferences, and he's like the only Spanish you can muster up is like in his Scottish accent. He's like, I've seen the squad practice 1, 2, 3 times. I'm like, okay, you can count to 3. Is that all you can say in Spanish?
All right.
Anyway.
Well, it doesn't look like we're going to get anyone on the stream, but I'll be sure to drag someone on next time. I don't think we'll do one after West Brom, but there'll definitely be a pre-game preview with Mike and Corey this week, probably Friday or Saturday. I think we play City on the Saturday, don't we? Next week. Yeah, Saturday night.
Saturday.
Decent time, actually. 11:30.
11:30.
So we can all have a drink and watch the game.
Hopefully we'll
Because
be
we're
out
going
of
to need a
lockdown.
few drinks to get through that game, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, there'll definitely be a pre-game podcast out later in the week with Mike and Corey. Don't know what time, but we'll do one probably Sunday at some point, maybe in the afternoon. Try to do, I think we'll still be in lockdown here in Wellington. I don't know about the rest of the country, but give us something to do while we're sitting at home doing nothing. So we'll be back. Try and get some people on the podcast on the stream next week. So yeah, anyone can join. So if you're in the chat, you see us pop up, feel free to join. But yeah, thanks for joining me, Dave.
It's a pleasure. Oh, it's our mate in the chat saying, can't we record one for the West Brom game, just 5-minute clip? I don't know. It depends how it goes, eh? All depends how it goes. I mean,
I'm not doing anything, so I can. And at a decent time. But whether anyone else wants to watch us talk about Arsenal West Brom losing to West Brom and being knocked out, I think that might just break us.
Yeah, it all depends. If we lose, I really don't feel like coming on here and talk about how shit Arsenal is. Anyway.
But yeah, thanks, Dave.
Cool.
Talk to you again soon. And yeah, enjoy lockdown.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Thanks, mate.